Hello, everybody. How are you this morning? We are back for another Bible story reading. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, let me tell you what's going on here. We have been reading the story of Nehemiah. We go through the different stories of the Bible for people who don't know the stories. Maybe you've never heard them or you've only heard what somebody else has told you about them. This gives you an opportunity to know them for yourself. And that way, if they come up in conversation, which they do so many times, then you can be a part of that conversation intelligently and actually understand what people are talking about. We go live on Facebook and then we upload these videos to YouTube. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you can find us and watch these live on Get Clear Teachings on Facebook if you want. In the meantime, please hit that like and subscribe button. We sure appreciate it. We have been talking about the story of Nehemiah. Nehemiah, if you remember, was working for a king. He was a king's cupbearer, and he got word that back in Jerusalem, the walls of his hometown had been completely destroyed, and he was grieved. And he asked the king for permission to go rebuild these walls. So the king gave him permission to do that. In fact, he gave him some letters saying that he had permission to go do this. And he went, and he was met with a tremendous amount of opposition. People were constantly teasing him, saying, "Yo, you're never going to get this wall done." They had to set guards up while they were working to make sure that nobody would harm them while they were trying to finish this wall. And they were building the wall, repairing it in different sections, and different groups of people were responsible for different sections. Now, there are some other things that are happening while they are tending to this wall, some things that are going on socially that really has Nehemiah upset. So we're going to pick up in Nehemiah chapter 5. There was a widespread outcry from the people and their wives against their Jewish countrymen. Some were saying, "We are sons, and our daughters are numerous. Let us get grain so that we can eat and live." Others were saying, "We are mortgaging our fields, vineyards, and homes to get grain during the famine." Still others were saying, "We have borrowed money to pay the king's tax on our fields and vineyards. We and our children are just like our countrymen and their children, yet we are subjecting our sons and daughters to slavery. Some of our daughters are already enslaved, but we are powerless because our fields and vineyards belong to others." I became extremely angry when I heard the outcry and these complaints. After seriously considering the matter, I accused the nobles and officials, saying to them, "Each of you is charging his countrymen interest." So I called a large assembly against them and said, "We have done our best to buy back our Jewish countrymen who were sold to foreigners. But now you sell our own countrymen, and we have to buy them back." They remained silent and could not say a word. Then I said, What you are doing isn't right. Shouldn't you walk in the fear of our God and not invite the reproach of our foreign enemies? Even I, as well as my brothers and my servants, have been lending them money and grain. Please, let us stop charging this interest. Return their fields, vineyards, olive groves, and houses to them immediately, along with the percentage of the money, grain, new wine, and fresh oil that you have been assessing them." They responded, "We will return these things and require nothing more from them. We will do as you say." So I summoned the priests and made everyone take an oath to do this. I also shook the folds of my robe and said, "May God likewise shake from his house and property everyone who doesn't keep this promise. May he be shaken out and have nothing." The whole assembly said, "Amen," and they praised the Lord. Then the people did as they had promised. Furthermore, from the day King Artaxerxes appointed me to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year until his 32nd year, 12 years, I and my associates never ate from the food allotted to the governor. The governors who preceded me had heavily burdened the people, taking from them food and wine as well as a pound of silver. Their subordinates also oppressed the people, but because of the fear of God, I didn't do this. Instead, I devoted myself to the construction of this wall, and all my subordinates were gathered there for the work. We didn't buy any land. There were 150 Jews and officials, as well as guests from the surrounding nations at my table. Each day, 1 ox, 6 choice sheep, and some fowl were prepared for me. An abundance of all kinds of wine was provided every 10 days. But I didn't demand the food allotted to the governor because the burden on the people was so heavy. Remember me favorably, my God, for all that I have done for this people. That was Nehemiah 5. What an interesting piece of this story. So Nehemiah has been appointed by the king to be governor over this area, to take care of the rebuilding of this wall, to revive this city, if you will, that has been laid in ruins. Now there's a famine going on. And what has happened is that the people are hungry, and so they are mortgaging their property. They're borrowing money, basically from high interest, let's just say high interest bankers, people who will give them money, but they are exacting such an interest from them that they can't necessarily ever pay it back. They are enslaving them financially. And Nehemiah is saying to them, this is wrong. What you are doing is completely wrong. God says we are not supposed to be doing this to our brothers and sisters. We are not supposed to be laying such heavy burdens on them and exacting these interest rates from them. He says here he became extremely angry when he found out that the people were being ripped off. They couldn't eat. And so people who had money and grain were taking advantage of them. And Nehemiah became very angry, and he starts telling them, this is wrong. You need to fear God. And if you don't, may God shake you off. So he shakes off his robe. He shakes off the dust from his robe. That was kind of a symbol of saying, may God do the same thing to you, just shake you off if you continue doing this. He had summoned all of the priests together, and he made these people take an oath that they would stop charging interest on these people, that they would give them back their land. And the people agreed. These lenders agreed. They're like, okay, we'll do this. And I guess Nehemiah probably didn't trust them, and that's why he had them take this oath in front of the priests. And he also said, may God shake you off if you break your oath. Then he goes on to explain, he says, furthermore, this is Nehemiah is retelling the story of what happened while he was, in charge, while he was the governor there. He says, furthermore, for 12 years I was governor there, and I didn't do what the governors before me did. I didn't lay heavy burdens on the people and make them pay for my lavish lifestyle. In fact, I didn't take any money from them. Any money that we had was devoted to fixing this wall. I even opened up my table and had people from all over that were working on the wall come and sit down. I fed them. I didn't take from them. I gave to them. And he says, remember me favorably, my God, for all that I have done for this people. So there are 3 ways that we look at these scriptures. What does it say? We just read what it says. What was it saying to the people of the time? We kind of understand now what was going on. And what, if anything, is it saying to us today? There is quite a lesson in here for us. I think we can all look back through history and remember different times in our history and other nations' histories where they have gone through periods of economic downturn, economic depression. And that is basically what is happening here. They're trying to rebuild. They're coming back from captivity that they have been under, and they're trying to rebuild their ruined city. But the economy has really tanked. It's really tough. Interest rates are high. merchandise is high. It's kind of hard for them to rebuild because the economy is so bad. In the meantime, those that are in charge, those that are leaders, those that have control of the purse strings, so to speak, of the economy, are making it even more difficult on people. In our own history, we have gone through economic times where we have had good times where our economy has prospered, interest rates are low, people have purchasing power, and then we have gone through times where our economy is not doing so well. Gas prices are high, interest rates are high. You go to the grocery store and the cost of groceries is ridiculously high, and wages are not keeping up with those things. And yet there are still lenders, bankers, people in government who are taxing the people. They're taking more and more. They're laying heavy burdens on the people. And this is something for us, I think, to be in prayer about. This is what this speaks to me about, that we need to pray that God change the heart of the people who are taking advantage of the poor and provide a way for his people to be released from the bondage of debt. So this is an interesting story here in Nehemiah. And as we move on, there's a few more chapters in Nehemiah that we're going to read. And as we move on, we're going to see even some more of the determination that Nehemiah has in making sure this wall gets complete, making sure that the city is put back together, so to speak. So I hope you learned something today. Maybe you didn't know this story in Nehemiah. I hope you learned something today, and I look forward to us being together next time. Have a great day. God bless you.